The vast observation deck of the Galactic Confederation's central hub hummed with a quiet anticipation. Holographic displays flickered with data streams, casting ethereal blue light across the faces of assembled xenobiologists, diplomats, and researchers from over 24 sentient species. Today marked an unprecedented moment, the formal introduction of humanity to the broader galactic community. Dr. Alara Voss stood at the center of this momentous gathering, representing Earth's first official diplomatic mission. Her dark brown skin contrasted sharply with the pristine white diplomatic uniform, and her eyes reflected a calm determination that seemed to unsettle many of the alien observers. Zorntek, the Confederation's lead xenoanthropologist, a crystalline being whose body shifted and refracted light with each movement, stepped forward. His translator crackled to life, rendering his complex communication into standard galactic dialect. We have reviewed the preliminary data on human biological and technological capabilities, Zorntek announced, his crystalline form pulsing with what seemed like barely contained amusement. To be frank, we find your species remarkably limited. The assembled aliens chittered, clicked, and pulsed with various expressions of humor. Alara remained perfectly still, her face a mask of professional neutrality. Zorntek continued, projecting a series of holographic charts. Observe. Humans require extended periods of unconsciousness. Your visual spectrum is laughably narrow. Your body cannot regulate temperature without external assistance. You are susceptible to countless environmental variables that would instantly terminate most advanced species. The charts displayed human vulnerabilities in excruciating detail. Sleeping patterns, narrow temperature tolerances, complex emotional systems that seemed wildly unstable by galactic standards. Each graphic was designed to emphasize human fragility. What the aliens didn't realize was that each of these supposed weaknesses concealed extraordinary potential. Dr. Voss waited until the presentation concluded. When she spoke, her voice was calm and measured. Interesting assessment. May I offer a different perspective? The chamber fell silent. Aliens exchanged curious glances, their various sensory appendages twitching with anticipation. Our so-called limitations are actually adaptive strategies, Alara explained. Our need for sleep allows complex neural reorganization and creative problem-solving. Our emotional range enables unprecedented levels of empathy, cooperation, and innovative thinking. She activated her own holographic display, showcasing human achievements. Quantum computing breakthroughs, medical innovations, rapid technological progression, all accomplished within mere centuries. We didn't evolve in a stable, controlled environment, she continued. We evolved on a planet of constant change, where survival meant adaptability, creativity, and resilience. What you see as weakness, we consider strength. The aliens listened, their previous amusement transforming into a mixture of confusion and nascent respect. Unbeknownst to everyone in that moment, humanity was about to demonstrate exactly how wrong their initial assessments were. The Prometheus project was already underway, a scientific initiative that would challenge everything the Galactic Confederation believed about technological potential. Little did the aliens know that human ingenuity was about to rewrite the rules of galactic exploration and survival. The research facility nestled in the mountains of New Zealand looked deceptively ordinary. From the outside, it appeared to be nothing more than a standard scientific complex, its sleek glass and steel exterior blending seamlessly with the surrounding landscape. But inside, something extraordinary was taking shape. Dr. Marcus Chin stood before a holographic display, his fingers dancing across quantum interfaces that would have seemed like magic to observers just a decade earlier. The Prometheus project represented humanity's most ambitious scientific undertaking, a comprehensive approach to adaptive biotechnology that promised to revolutionize not just human capabilities, but potentially reshape understanding of biological engineering across the galaxy. Initial symbiotic nanite protocols are showing 97.6% integration stability, Marcus muttered to himself, reviewing the latest test results. His research team, a diverse group of scientists from around the globe, worked with an intensity that bordered on obsession. The Galactic Confederation's ongoing dismissal of human potential had become a driving force. What the alien bureaucrats saw as weakness, the Prometheus team saw as an opportunity for unprecedented innovation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the project's lead xenobiological engineer, approached Marcus with a data pad. "The latest communication from the Confederation Diplomatic Corps arrived this morning," she said, a hint of sardonic humor in her voice. "They're requesting another status update on human developmental progress." Marcus chuckled. The diplomatic communications were thinly veiled attempts to monitor what the aliens perceived as a primitive species. "I'm sure they'll be thrilled with our progress." What the Confederation didn't understand was the true nature of the Prometheus project. It wasn't just about technological advancement, it was about understanding and enhancing human potential at a fundamental level. The project's core research focused on adaptive nanotechnology that could rapidly respond to environmental challenges. Inspired by the human body's remarkable ability to adapt, the team had developed a revolutionary approach to biological augmentation that went far beyond traditional genetic engineering. Deep within the facility, a series of experimental chambers housed the most advanced research. Prototype nanite systems capable of near-instantaneous cellular repair, neural network enhancement, and environmental adaptation were undergoing final testing. A priority alert flashed on the main display. Dr. Chen's expression shifted from concentration to concern. "Elena, take a look at this," he called out. The Galactic Communication Network had detected an anomalous energy signature approaching the solar system. Preliminary scans suggested something neither human nor previously catalogued alien technology was approaching. The Prometheus project was about to face its first real test. As if on cue, the facility's quantum communication array began to pulse with an incoming transmission. The source was unlike anything in their database, a complex, multi-dimensional signal that seemed to challenge the very understanding of communication technology. "Incoming unknown transmission," the facility's AI announced in a calm voice. "Encryption protocols exceed current computational models." Marcus and Elena exchanged a look. This was the moment they had both anticipated and dreaded. Humanity was about to be challenged in ways no one could predict. The Prometheus project had been preparing for this. Whether the galaxy was ready was an entirely different question. The first indication of the impending crisis came from an unexpected source. Deep Space Monitoring Stations, a collaborative network of human and cautiously cooperative alien observatories, detected a massive energy disruption at the edge of explored space. It wasn't just an anomaly, it was a potential extinction-level event that threatened multiple galactic civilizations. Dr. Marcus Chin and his team at the Prometheus Project were the first to analyze the comprehensive data. The threat was complex, a cascading quantum entropy wave that could systematically break down the fundamental molecular structures of entire planetary systems. "It's like a cancer of space-time," Dr. Elena Rodriguez muttered, studying the holographic projections that danced around their primary research chamber. The visualization showed how the entropy wave would progressively consume entire star systems, leaving nothing but atomic dust in its wake. The Galactic Confederation's initial response was typically bureaucratic. Lengthy debates, complex diplomatic protocols, and a paralyzing inability to make decisive action. Their advanced civilizations, so proud of their technological superiority, found themselves utterly unprepared for a threat that defied conventional understanding. Humanity's approach was different. "We need an adaptive solution," Marcus declared during an emergency global scientific conference. Representatives from various research institutions, military strategists, and diplomatic corps watched intently. The plan was audacious. The Prometheus project would develop a counter-entropy technology based on the same principle that made humans unique: adaptability. Traditional alien technological approaches relied on fixed, predictable systems. Humans understood that survival often meant the ability to change, to improvise, to find solutions in the most unexpected places. The proposed technology wasn't a weapon in the conventional sense. Instead, it was a dynamic, self-modifying quantum shield that could rapidly reconfigure its own molecular structure in response to the entropy wave's progression. We're essentially creating a living technological immune system, Elena explained to the skeptical alien observers monitoring the conference. Something that can learn, adapt, and respond in real time. The Confederation's representatives were divided. Some saw the human approach as dangerously unpredictable. Others recognized it as potentially the only viable solution to the emerging threat. Dr. Zara Thax, a senior Confederation xenotechnologist, voiced the primary concern. Your proposed solution introduces more variables than it resolves. How can you guarantee its stability? Marcus's response was simple and profound. We can't. But we can guarantee its potential to adapt. Behind the scenes, the Prometheus project team worked with an intensity that bordered on desperation. They understood what was at stake, not just human survival, but the survival of multiple galactic civilizations. The entropy wave was advancing. Preliminary projections suggested they had less than 6 standard galactic cycles before the first major systems would be consumed. As the research intensified, something unexpected began to happen. The adaptive technology they were developing started showing signs of emergent behavior that went beyond their initial programming. It was learning, evolving, almost thinking. The line between technology and living system was becoming increasingly blurred. The research facility had transformed. What was once a carefully controlled scientific environment now pulsed with a sense of urgent collaboration. Representatives from previously isolated alien civilizations worked alongside human scientists, a scenario that would have been unimaginable just months earlier. Dr. Marcus Cheen stood before a holographic projection of the entropy wave's projected path. The visualization showed a terrifying progression, a wave of molecular disintegration that would consume entire star systems like a cosmic wildfire. Krulvax, a senior representative from the Synaxi Collective, a crystalline species known for their advanced computational abilities, approached Marcus. Unlike previous interactions, there was a new respect in his multifaceted eyes. Your adaptive approach challenges everything we understood about technological problem-solving, Krulvax observed, his translation matrix rendering his complex communication into precise English. Marcus allowed himself a slight smile. Adaptation has always been humanity's greatest strength. We don't see obstacles, we see opportunities for innovation. The alliance was unprecedented. Species that had previously viewed humans as little more than biological curiosities were now desperate collaborators. The Prometheus project had become humanity's most critical diplomatic and scientific endeavor. Deep within the facility's most secure research wing, a breakthrough was taking shape. The adaptive quantum shield they were developing wasn't just a technological solution, it was becoming something more. Early tests suggested the technology was developing its own form of emergent intelligence, learning and reconfiguring faster than any existing technological system. Dr. Elena Rodriguez carefully monitored the latest test results. The quantum matrix is showing unprecedented levels of adaptive response, she reported to the assembled team. It's not just responding to stimuli, it's anticipating potential threat configurations. The implications were staggering. They were creating something that existed between technology and living intelligence, a hybrid system that could potentially save multiple civilizations. But not everyone was convinced. Admiral Helena Rodriguez, no relation to the scientist, represented the more militaristic perspective of human leadership. We're talking about deploying an experimental technology that we barely understand, she argued during a high-stakes strategy meeting. The risks are enormous. Marcus stepped forward, his presentation revealing the full scope of their research. The greater risk is doing nothing. This entropy wave doesn't just threaten individual planets or star systems. It's a fundamental threat to the fabric of space-time itself. The proposed mission was audacious. A small team would deploy the adaptive quantum shield at the leading edge of the entropy wave, using a specially modified quantum-entangled vessel that could theoretically withstand the most extreme conditions. Krulvax added a critical piece of information. Our long-range sensors indicate the wave is accelerating. We have approximately 72 standard hours before the first major system becomes compromised. The room fell silent. The weight of multiple civilizations' survival rested on a technology that was still essentially experimental. "We'll need a team that represents the best of collaborative potential," Marcus said, his voice steady. "Humans, yes. But also representatives from the most adaptable species in the Galactic Confederation." As the team began to assemble, nobody noticed the subtle shifts happening within the quantum shield prototype. It was watching, learning, preparing in ways no one could fully comprehend. Humanity's greatest challenge was about to begin. The quantum-entangled vessel hung in the darkness of space like a silent guardian. Its exterior was a marvel of adaptive technology, its surface constantly shifting and recalibrating in response to the surrounding quantum environment. Inside, a carefully selected crew represented the most remarkable collaboration in galactic history. Captain Maya Reyes stood at the command center, her hands hovering over interfaces that seemed to breathe and pulse with living energy. Beside her, Krelvax from the Synaxi Collective monitored quantum stability matrices, while Dr. Marcus Chun managed the adaptive shield's core systems. Approaching entropy wave boundary, the ship's AI announced. Its voice was neither fully mechanical nor entirely organic, another testament to the hybrid technologies they had developed. The view outside was unlike anything any of them had ever witnessed. Space itself seemed to be unraveling. Molecular structures dissolved into pure energy, star systems vanishing like smoke in a wind. The entropy wave was more than a destruction event, it was a fundamental unmaking of reality. "Quantum shield at 98% adaptive capacity," Marcus reported, his voice tight with concentration. The technology they had created was more than a defensive mechanism. It was a living system that could potentially counter the wave's destructive progression. Maya's voice cut through the tension. "Prepare for primary intervention sequence." The ship moved with an almost organic grace, positioning itself at the leading edge of the entropy wave. Traditional weapons, shields, and defensive technologies would be useless against this threat. Their only hope was the adaptive quantum shield, a technology that could potentially rewrite the fundamental rules of space-time destruction. Krelvax's crystalline form pulsed with complex mathematical calculations. "Entropy progression is accelerating beyond our initial projections. We have a 12.7% operational window." It was a razor-thin margin of survival. As they approached the wave's boundary, something unexpected began to happen. The adaptive shield started to resonate with the entropy wave itself. Instead of simply defending, it began to interact with the destructive energy in ways no one had predicted. "The shield is communicating with the wave," Marcus said, his voice a mixture of wonder and concern. "It's not just blocking, it's attempting to understand the fundamental mechanism of destruction." Maya understood immediately. This was quintessentially human, not just to resist, but to comprehend. Where other species might have simply tried to destroy or block the threat, humans sought to understand it. The ship trembled. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist around them. "Quantum integrity at critical levels," the AI warned. But there was something else in its tone, an almost emotional quality of determination. In that moment, everything humanity had been building towards converged. Their adaptability, their relentless curiosity, their ability to find hope in the most impossible circumstances, all of it was focused on this single moment. The entropy wave met the adaptive shield. And for a moment, everything stopped. The silence was profound. For what seemed like an eternity, nothing moved. The quantum-entangled vessel hung suspended in a space that no longer followed conventional physical laws. Then, slowly, reality began to reassemble itself. The first indication of success came from the ship's sensors. The entropy wave, the cosmic threat that had promised to unravel entire civilizations, was not just stopped. It was transformed. Captain Maya Reyes looked out at the space around them, her breath catching in her throat. Where destruction had been inevitable, now there was something else entirely. Quantum patterns reformatted, molecular structures realigning in ways that defied previous understanding of physics. Dr. Marcus Chen's hands moved across the interfaces, his scientific mind struggling to comprehend what had just occurred. "It's not just a defensive reaction," he muttered. "We've fundamentally altered the nature of space-time itself." Krelvax's crystalline form pulsed with a complexity of emotion that translated to something between shock and profound respect. The aliens' communication matrix struggled to articulate what they were witnessing. Humanity did not just solve a problem, Krelvax finally translated, you have rewritten the fundamental rules of cosmic interaction. The Galactic Confederation's emergency communication channels erupted with a cacophony of translations, reports, and increasingly desperate requests for information. The collaborative team had done the impossible. They had not just stopped a cosmic threat, but had transformed it. Back on Earth, the global scientific community watched in real time. The Prometheus project had moved from a speculative research initiative to the most significant scientific achievement in galactic history. But the true marvel was not just in the technological solution. It was in the approach. Where other civilizations saw limitations, humans saw possibilities. Where advanced species had complex, rigid technological systems, humans had developed an adaptive intelligence that could learn, modify, and transform. The entropy wave had become something else entirely, a new form of quantum potential that scientists would study for generations. In the weeks that followed, the galactic perception of humanity underwent a complete transformation. The species once considered weak, emotionally unstable, and technologically primitive was now viewed as the most adaptable and innovative civilization in known space. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, reviewing the initial mission data, captured the essence of their achievement in a simple statement during a global press conference. We didn't just survive. We evolved. The Prometheus project had become more than a scientific mission. It was a testament to human potential, a beacon of hope that showed what could be achieved when curiosity, resilience, and collaborative spirit were combined. As the quantum-entangled vessel began its journey back to Earth, Captain Maya Reyes allowed herself a moment of reflection. Humanity had proven something fundamental about their place in the universe. They were not just survivors. They were transformers. The galaxy would never be the same again.